snares popping, hands up, energy open. Where the chains get broken and the culture stays golden. We move with grit, say grit. We rise with grace, say grits. We push for progress. Progress. No justice, no sleep. Snare snapping, keep that bounce alive. Unapologetic, black, unfiltered, unshaken. We the future in motion, history in the making. Let's go! Every step, every voice, every beat that we speak. We the rhythm of the people rising week after week. From the block to the ballot, the mic to the streets. We bring fire to the system till the mission's complete. Turn it up, let it hit, let it rise in your chest. This is power, this is purpose, yo, we won't rest. So lean in, tune up, let your spirit digest. This is grit, grace, and progress. Yeah, feel that, hold that, let it settle in your soul. Grace, power in the place. Grace and progress, say it. Grace, power in the place. Grace and progress, say it. Grace and progress, say it. Grace and progress.
Ooh. I can't sing. I know I can't sing, but you know, hey, it is what it is. How y'all doing? This is Mars on Grit, Grace, and Progress. This is Monday, the 27th. Got a little itchy throat there. This is Monday, Monday, July 27th. Here on Grit, Grace, and Progress. It's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time if you're on the East Coast, Midwest, a little bit like 8 p.m. So tonight on Grit, Grace, and Progress, we're connecting two stories. Let me go back up a little bit. Let me give you the real title. The real title says this: what a 1910 report and a 2026 audio file reveal about whose truth gets heard. The thing about it is that we've been talking about this a lot, about what's the narrative, how people can change a narrative, how people can change how you perceive things just by a simple title or their talking point. And we got two stories here that's going to kind of reveal that a little bit. So tonight on Grit, Grace, and Progress, we're connecting two stories over a century apart that ask the same question: who gets believed and who gets erased? In 1910, an educator who wasn't even a doctor wrote 2 pages that gutted black medicine, closing 5 of 7 black medical schools and branding fully trained black physicians dangerous. More than 100 years later, black doctors still make up just 5% of the physician workforce, a direct legacy of Abraham Flexner's report. There's a story about it in the Grill. You can check that out. And then we turn to a very different kind of erasure, a very different kind of correction. In the Nolan Wells case, audio engineer Jeanetta Brantley took it upon herself with her own time and money to isolate and clean up the background audio from the CTO distress call using traditional studio techniques. No AI involved. What she surfaced was a reignited national attention. What she surfaced was a reignited national attention on what really happened on that boat off Horn Island. These are two stories. It's one thread here on Grit, Grace, and Progress, when official institutions and narratives fail us. Our own community experts, our own community step in to tell the truth. So with the Flexner report, this is a 116-year-old, shortage, that happened. Before we get into what those happenings were, before we get into what's happening on the water off Horn Island, we got to go right into this story here to understand why black healthcare looks the way it does today. In 1910, a man who never practiced medicine a day in his life wrote a report that would decide who got to become a doctor in this country. 2 pages. That's all it took to wipe out 5 medical schools and brand our physicians dangerous. We are still living with the aftershocks of that report today. So let's start there. I'm going to bring in my panel here, my trusted people. I got my man Greg Battle. I got E.B. Smith and Bria. Before we jump in, I want to make sure you guys are doing good. Everybody straight?
All good in the hood.
Was your weekend good, Greg?
Weekend was trying. It's a trying time in my life. So
okay,
I survived it and we got through it, and I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Upright in the land of the living beats the alternative.
Got you. What about you, Bria? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing really good.
Y'all want to see my lovely wife here? You come on, get on camera.
Hi, Cheryl.
There she go. Say hey, dog. Give away. Nah, it's acting a fool right now. You know how I am. So, but yeah, she about to head out. But I'll talk to you later now. So, how about you, EB? How was it? How was your weekend?
Busy. My daughter's coming home next week, so I'm getting ready for
Hey man, sound happy, dude.
that. Yeah, that's it. It's just so much to process. Right? It's so processed. I love my baby, man. I miss her.
Hey, I know you do. How about you, Bree? How was yours? Oh, you guys were at the Cardinals game, didn't you? Did you go to
Yeah,
the Cardinals game?
yeah, it was nice. The kids did the Y this year in the summer, and so they were
Hmm.
invited to walk the field. So we did like the parade on the field and everything. It was really nice.
Ah, cool, cool, cool. So
Really
that was
good.
their first game, right? Their first game.
That was the no, that wasn't Logansport. We used to go to the Royals game, the games in Kansas City, but that was Fallon's first game and George's first game, and it was really cool. It gave me that. It reminded me of back in the day when we used to go to Jacobs Field to the
Okay.
Indians. Well, to the
Yeah.
what are they now? The Gladiators? No, where are they now?
Guardians.
The Guardians. We used to go to the
Yeah.
Guardians game. Back.
Yeah. Yeah. They were Indians then. Yeah. So yeah, my weekend was pretty cool. We are dog sitting for Sheldon. Uh, him and Alex, they went to and Saheli, they went up to Colorado for his job. He goes there every now and then for work, and we got their dog Gizmo here with us,
Oh,
fluffing hair everywhere. Got my allergies all jacked up, and this work did worked at church a lot this weekend. We had it was my week to video direct, and that's like a long task of 4 services, between Saturday and Sunday. So I was kind of worn out and I had these doctor's appointments today. And so I've been ripping and running all day today. But now it's time to get down to the good part, the stuff that we be waiting for every Monday to get on this call and to chop it up and break down some of these stories. Why did my thing move again here? I had my little thing says ask the panel this, and then my teleprompter moved. So here's the question. Where else do we see outside experts setting the rules for Black professionals? And what does it cost us when we don't control our own standards of legitimacy? Go with you, Greg. When
Well,
we got outside people that has to take care to, kind of mandate
I,
what
I
we
try
do.
to I try to put things in context, and we're talking about things like this. I have to go a little bit deeper in the past because in the 1800s they were doing experimentation on black people, calling it medicine,
Hmm.
and then for after the Civil War and we got our own places and things like that, why not? Why wouldn't they do what they do? Because it's the same thing that they're doing today. You take and you hypotheticalize some issue and then aim it at the black people and see what that's the problem.
Yeah,
But you have to prove a negative. You can't prove a negative.
yeah,
So it, erasure is part of their playbook,
yeah,
especially when they can't get around the facts. If I can't get around the facts and I can't subvert it and buy it away, then what I do is discredit it.
yeah,
And that's what we're doing now. I mean,
yeah.
it's the same echo with that person in the head of the CDC. Echo
Yeah.
stop.
So when it come down to setting rules for us, um, that's where I want to go to. The rules that are set that establish what we can and cannot do. Um,
This this country stands on setting rules for 1% of the population. They don't care about the majority of the population. They make rules for the 1% to keep the other 99% in line.
yeah,
If you don't
yeah,
act right, we'll make a
yeah,
rule against you.
right. So going to EB, give us an example. I know you could come up with tons of examples of where rules have been set um, on the Black community from it's not even a written rule per se. It's just like a almost a rule that have kind of shaped the way we move over a period of time. And then when you look at it in the healthcare professionals, like we talked about this, like I said, a couple episodes ago, how we talked about mental health and the low number of doctors. I think it's like 2% of healthcare, like the psychologists are Black.
Take it with you.
And when you look at what this Abraham Flexner did,
Yeah.
where do we go from knowing this information now? Where do we go moving forward? How can we change that?
I think that Greg was on to something. He used the phrase, "How can we prove a negative?" Right? I think that it's perspective, and I want to say this again. Give Greg more credit on this too. When he's talking about, I come from another mindset. When I talk about you talk about that, was it a Rexner? What you call it, Rexner report?
Flexner
report. One of the things that, so let's look at the standards that came out of the report. You know, the process. We can sit and talk about the process. And yes, there was something like 75% of the schools closed, Black schools closed, and the only ones left was Howard University, was one of the schools that was left to teach medical practice.
Yeah. But
what came out of there, now just imagine this, and that's why I'm coming from that perspective, is you had to be trained in a legitimate school. You had to at least have a high school diploma. Now imagine those two basics that had to be put in the report. I have to push back and say, you mean to tell me we were actually allowing colleges to have students that didn't have a high school diploma?
No, we didn't. Right.
Okay, so if that's what came out of the report, somebody's lying.
Yeah.
Because based on the results of the report, that those standards, which we can all agree are good standards to have,
yeah,
that meant that they thought that 75% of those schools had to be closed because the people didn't have a basic education. Well, we don't have to go into a long history lesson to find out why we didn't have a good education.
Right. Well, if you think about what you just said there, though, you gave a distinction that they were saying Black people didn't have the education, but yet the guy who created a report wasn't a doctor.
Well, he wasn't a doctor, but he was very trained. And so I'm going to ask you. Let me answer your question another way.
Okay.
The standards that are put on us are decent standards. Let me just say this: a lot of standards that we are given to follow are decent standards.
Right.
We don't have to argue whether the standards are not fair. What we have to argue is why not someone else have to follow the same standards. That's actually the argument we should be making.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that a lot of stuff that we've been asked to do or tasked to do is unfair in a sense. I think the reason why it sticks out to us is because the other people are not being held to the same standards. Just take our politicians, right? There are things said about Kamala Harris that you should never say about a trained, educated person.
Yeah.
Period. Right? These are the people that are saying this are not just, white people on the other side. There are Black people who are saying that her standards should be higher than the person we put in the White House that eventually won.
Yeah.
That is the perspective that we had in America. Black people can follow the standards. We don't think they're unfair. At least I don't think they're unfair. But why is it that we're the only ones who have to follow those standards?
No, you're absolutely right. I'm going to go in and play the video. Then on the other side, we're going to come back to Bria to get her assessment of this.
1910, a man who had never stepped foot inside of a medical school shot down 5 Black medical schools and erased 35,000 Black doctors from existence. This is the story of the Flexner Report, and it is still shaping your healthcare today. His name was Abraham Flexner. He was not a doctor, he was not a scientist. He was an educator with a bachelor's degree who had spent his career running a prep school in Louisville, Kentucky. But yet, the American Medical Association and the Carnegie Foundation hired him to evaluate medical schools across America. And when he was done, he recommended shutting down 5 of the 7 schools training Black physicians in this country. I'm Dr. Michael H. Ford, and this is a story you need to hear. At the time, those 7 schools were producing doctors. By 1905, they had collectively trained over 1,400 Black physicians, doctors who went into communities no white doctor would serve. But Flexner called the schools feeble and ill-equipped. He said they were producing undisciplined men, whose lack of real training was covered up by the imposing MD degree. He wrote that Black doctors should not be trained as surgeons. He said their job was to focus on hygiene, specifically to prevent Black people from spreading disease to their white neighbors. Within Within 2 years, 3 schools were gone. By 1924, only 2 remained: Howard University and Meharry Medical College. A peer-reviewed study estimated that if those 5 schools had remained open, they would have produced between 27,000 and 35,000 additional black physicians by 2019 alone. That is a potential 29% increase in the number of black doctors graduating today. Those doctors never existed. And no new black medical school opened in America for over 50 years. Today, black doctors make up less than 6% of physicians in America. And researchers trace that shortage directly back to one report, written by one man in 1910. The Flexner Report did not just close schools. It decided who gets to heal, and it decided who gets left behind. Healing starts with knowing. Follow for more.
Okay. Now, what's amazing about that, remember when I asked earlier about where do we go from here, and really like some of the background history that Greg gave? Well, do you realize that that same pattern happened again, and it went right past us? I brought it up we talked about this not too long ago. You guys ever heard of Kevin Roberts? So Kevin Roberts, I'll read this for you right quick. Kevin Roberts, he was the president of the Heritage Foundation, if you guys know what the Heritage Foundation is. And he's the key architect of Project of the 2025, and earned his graduate degree focusing on the history of American slavery and black family structures. This academic background drew widespread public attention and criticism on social media regarding the contrast between his early scholarly work and his later policy efforts. Public relations criticism, the controversy. Commentators and critics have highlighted an irony and concern that an architect of conservative political platform targeting diversity, equity, and inclusion programs previously spent years deeply researching history and community resilience. The policy concerns, civil rights organizations and analysts argue that the policies championed in the Project 2025 risk harming black communities by dismantling institutional equity initiatives and federal civil rights protections. And the point I want to make with those two stories, you have one man who studied us from a medical perspective. He saw us growing. You think about it, we was going through that Reconstruction period. It was Jim Crow, but yet we were thriving as a black community. We didn't need any help from the government in many places. We just did it ourselves. So you look at a doctor who wrote a 2-page document saying they're dangerous, these black doctors, for various reasons. Then we got another guy in our modern times who studied us, our culture, the way we move, and build policies around us to enable us from doing what we need to do, to be that self-sufficient group of people again. Not that we can't do it, but the blockage there with all the different things they're doing through Project 2025. And with that being said, Bree, I'm going to toss it to you and get your take on the Flexner Report and what I just mentioned to you about Kevin Roberts. You're muted.
Every time. Sorry. With the Flexner Report, there were some things that just absolutely irritated my soul, which was that this man, Abraham Flexner, had a Bachelor of Arts degree, and that's it, in classics. He didn't have any medical training. He didn't have any type of anything. And even if you Google it, he's regarded as like an education expert. And he's not. He just has a Bachelor of Arts in classics. No advanced degrees. I know it was a different time. It was a different time, but there's no advanced degrees. There's no PhD. No nothing. No nothing after that. And I can't speak to necessarily his professional background because I actually didn't really look into it that deeply. But it's just he was completely unqualified though to write this report. That then shut down so many Black colleges that would have produced these healthcare professionals. And on the other side, you might hear other people say, well, white colleges were also shut down. White medical schools were also shut down. I meant to say medical school. And there were white medical schools that were shut down. But the key difference is the people that were attending those schools or may have attended those schools that were white could just go apply to another white medical school that met the standards that Flexner had laid out. At this time, this is during Jim Crow, Black students that were trying to pursue a medical degree could not go and apply to these other white medical schools. They were down to two options. And at this time, Black students were rejected regularly. They were not allowed to attend these white institutions. So that I mean, essentially they gutted um, medical schools for Black people, and it was like an entire erasure of um, a whole like generations of Black medical professionals that could have come from those schools. So um, it is very frustrating when we look at the history of how Black people have been treated in the medical industry. And I'm always coming back to systemic racism because this is also another perfect example of that. There are many hundreds of examples that we can give, but this is another perfect example of it. When someone asks, "What systemic racism and systemic oppression are you talking about?" This, which we most people don't even know about. So thank you for bringing that to light, Dad. Appreciate that. But as far as the Heritage Project, and I know you're talking about. I can't remember the guy's name. You just said it, but yeah,
Kevin Roberts.
insane. That's a crazy that you dedicated your life's education, your educational journey to learning about us, and then using that against us to try to dismantle the Black. Like that's insane.
Mhm.
That's really insane. And it just goes to show the level of hatred that we see regularly against Black people. Um, and I guess I'll end with this. I hear this all the time. It's like, whoo, y'all are so lucky. Black people don't want to get even, and we just want equality and equity, right?
Yeah.
There's no revenge that we want to have. Um, and to that, you should be thankful.
I agree. I agree. I agree. And that was some good insight there. And you broke that down pretty good. That you would dedicate your life to something at someone else's demise, to ruin someone else. But
I think
as we continue on with this, are you gonna say something?
yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
think the point to be made here is Bria brought up. Thank you. But at that time in 1910, I looked it up. Black people were 11% of the population. 11%. So any impact that was made against blacks had a bigger impact, a negative impact on black because with such a small population,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and the same is true now. Again, I think even if we look at from their perspective, if they think call it fair, that even if they thought that that was fair, the impact is going to always be different. And like Bree brought up, the black students that left there couldn't go apply at another college
Yeah.
because they are a lower percentage and they weren't going to be accepted, especially in the 1900s, right? I think the biggest thing here is we've got elected officials that are in charge of making sure they don't rubber stamp people to go in the National Center of Health and people to become president. We got people that are saying, okay, in the House of Representatives and Senators, these people are saying, okay, to people that have a proof that's proven they don't look out for black people. And if
Right.
you want to know who's held responsible for those for what goes on in America, it's the legislators because without them saying yes, we could get rid of all of this stuff. And again, I'm close what Bree said. Thank God that we still know God because a lot of us would think of all this and internalize it, and there
Right.
would be a lot of mayhem on the streets of America.
No, you're absolutely right in that. Absolutely right. But I want to move forward with that same. We're still on the same topic here. So, excuse me. So, if you only the two out of these medical schools that survived was Howard and Mayberry. I'm not familiar with Mayberry. You guys ever
Meharry,
heard of Mayberry? You heard of that?
it's the Meharry College.
Meharry College. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with
Yeah,
that. Where is that?
that's is it in DC?
I haven't looked. I just happened to see that. I should have looked it up. But
It's somewhere in Maryland, I think.
okay. And they say they alone produce 85% of the black physicians for half a century. So today, black
Yeah.
physicians are still just 5% of the workforce. And even as a new HBCU medical school like Xavier Ochsner in New Orleans opened with a major foundation backing. So I'm going to ask you all this question here. What would it take Is it funding, mentorship, HBCU pipelines to actually close that 116-year-old gap in one generation? What would we need to do to shrink that up to get more Black doctors out? Because we know education is key. Push more of them out there. But what ideas do you all have out there for that?
DEI.
I was going a different route. I was going to say erase whiteness. You take whiteness away, then you don't have to worry about Black, and let people fend for themselves and do what they got to do. But whiteness exists in a vacuum. It's the one thing that everybody ignores. For instance, we're talking about all of these legislations that says you can't isolate things just for Black people, and the gerrymandering. Well, if you're going to eliminate race, eliminate the white race. Let's do the gerrymander and let it work like it's supposed to work, and put everybody's vote to be the same.
Like the great Karen Hunter always say, we know this was a social construct that was put together. So when you ask the question, what is whiteness? That's where people get stumped, because you can't answer that question because it don't exist. So when you ask someone what that heritage means, they can't answer. So to eliminate it, yes, that would be the goal. But then it will be taken in the when you say it like that, the way a person receives it is you're trying to eliminate people, when actually you're eliminating the construct. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
But that's how they hear it, though. If you was to say that term in a setting,
but can nobody tell you what it means to be white? What
does
white mean?
Right.
And they want to flip it back at you and say, well, what does Black mean? Well, Black is the only thing that was the standard that was set as opposition to the white.
Yeah, but Black.
Until you called us Black, we didn't know that there was a white.
Well, we created actually Black. We started saying that. And from that perspective, I mean, you think about it, we were changing our own identity because we were trying to find identity. We had no identity let me rephrase that. We had identity, but as a person born on this land after the original slaves had died off and these other descendants that came along, they were still searching for their own identity. So you went from Black, Afro-American, the Negro, all these different words. And you think about it, the argument, the debate will end when you answer that one question, what is whiteness? That's where it breaks down at. And then you go into, okay, how do we move forward with things? But from this story here with the doctors, we know education is key. I think that truly, honestly, if we look at some of for athletes, there's going to be a different story, because they were just talking about this in a story I was reading this weekend about, you go to a HBCU, you look at the standards there as far as for an athlete to go for training and all that stuff. Then look at a PWI for training. It's like a hands down, no comparison. You just go to the PWI because you're going to get the best of everything at those schools. But when it comes to our doctors, I'm not sure. Maybe you will know the answer to that. Their other programs are better suited versus the sports side of HBCU. Because we know what their doctors are coming out of the HBCUs left and right. And so how do we steer that pipeline into the medical industry, especially for men? We have women doctors out there, but when we looked it up, when we researched it a couple months back, it was 2% of, especially from a mental health standpoint, 2% Black men. I didn't look at the stats for overall MDs out there, and it would be great to just see some of these grassroots organizations come together and create that pipeline to get our doctors out there.
Well, part of the problem, Mars, is 2 words: science and math.
Yeah.
You can't even start talking about entering into college if science and math proficiency is weak. Where does that start? If that's weak, forget about students applying or being accepted into a college, no matter how black and fair they are. And
Oh,
the
agreed.
science and math this week, guess what? That's it. And so what happens, right? It's the same thing in the trades. And so when I was interviewed to run a program in Cleveland, the white guy asked me, then I said, the science and math, you push it harder in the trades, but you don't teach it well in the high school.
Right.
So how can they get into the trades if they don't know science and math? And it's the same true for the medical field. So I think the beginning, the start of it has to come from that group, has to start in the grammar school and stuff like that. How do we change that? I'll go back to my original statement. Legislation. Every
Yeah.
every body that is in control of what you just spoke about, schools, medical standards, are all done through legislation, some form. If
Right.
the legislation is not there, there is no pipeline, there is no change. It is not going to happen. And yes, we can say get rid of the whiteness. We know that ain't gonna happen, right?
Right. Right.
By 2045, white people will be
Right.
a minority.
Right.
They don't have the numbers to stay a majority. They
Right.
need us. But guess what? The legislation's not there. And I don't hear a politician making it as much of a message as we are right now on
Right.
the show.
You know what? What I've never heard though, I've never heard the politicians talk about that. I'm trying to get both of our pictures up there for some reason. It won't click up there right. When you have the politicians there and bringing it. See, I can't get it going right. Ah, heck with it. What I'm trying to say is that you were mentioning legislation. These are topics that these legislators should put out and show the facts and the numbers, and say this is why these schools need this, that, and other. Especially like you said with math, when it comes down to math and English, science, these things. And if you look at a predominantly black school or predominantly black Hispanic school, there shouldn't be a reason why they can't get the same standard of education as a predominantly white school. And we know that the knowledge is there, the capability is there. We know that is there. What's holding us back? I can't really say.
Resources.
Yeah.
What's that? What is that?
Resources.
Well, resources in those individual schools. What I'm saying is that those that do grind it out, why are we still not getting? Why are we still at 2% or 5% of these doctors? We know that the resources are lower. I got that. I got that.
Let's go
But-
back to cause and effect. Okay. Uh-oh. I lost him.
What's that?
You still here, Greg? We see
We
you.
hear you.
Okay. All right. No, I was talking about cause and effect. Every 10 years, we're supposed to fill out this census, right?
Yeah.
We as black people are so hyper sensitive to distrusting information that you give the government
Good point.
that we don't fill out the census.
Yes.
So when it comes time to get the resources for the community, we have not allowed ourselves to be counted.
Yeah.
So whatever we vote, if we do a school levy, well, they think there's X amount of people here, but it's X times 10. And then we got classrooms that are overfilled. The thing that really excited me in high school was going from a class of 30 in the 8th grade to a class of 10 in the 9th grade when I went
Right.
to a private school.
Right.
It just felt different, and you had a different rapport with the teacher, and the teacher didn't have to spend 45 minutes getting everybody to sit down and shut up, because people came in there ready to learn. It was
Right.
sparking our curiosity. I mean,
Right.
that in a nutshell is why that piece always goes back to resources.
No, you made a good point about the census. You was on point about that, and that just went right by me. And thank you for bringing that up, because it is true that in those communities the census aren't filled out. They're not filled out with everyone that needs to fill it out in that, like in per house. You know, so and so is this, and oh, he don't supposed to be here, so you don't want to put his name there. You're absolutely right. And when you look at that, those numbers, those dollars will go back in those communities. But think about this: if you look at our day and time, look at where we at right now, 2026. What is the demographic that's hiding that won't be doing the census?
Hispanics.
Hispanics. It can be immigrants in general. Yep. So what happens when you reduce those numbers? Remember, you have like full immigrant communities. I know down here in Texas, there's a large amount of Indian communities, and no, I have no issue with communities like that. So but what I'm saying is that's
the purpose, Mars. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah,
you just hit the nail on the head.
Eliminate the census.
A training in sociology is my training. That's it.
Yeah.
If you make people scared to fill out the census, you decrease the numbers in neighborhoods of people you don't like.
Yeah.
And the resources dry up. And then the city is forced to put people out of the city because they can't afford them. That was the purpose of the census. Donald Trump tried that in his first term.
Yeah. Well, that's less than 4 years. It's like 3.5 years. We'd be at 230. It'd be census time again.
So what are they doing? Go ahead, Bree. I'm sorry.
Okay, the census, I believe the census that, when did we do, when is the next one coming up? Is it next year?
2030?
2030?
That's what I was just saying. 3.5 years from now.
The option to delineate is going to be on that one. So
the what now?
Say it again.
So the option to delineate. So basically, you'll be able to see different ethnicities. So it won't just be black. You'll be able to delineate and say black Jamaican, black whatever, to basically show the population of
would that be a target option? Because they're going to target you now because you're breaking it down?
To what Greg was saying. I was going to point to what Greg was saying was that the thing is that would give opportunity for resources to be had. That would give opportunity for representation in the United States to show who's here and what the needs are. But then at the same time, to Greg's point, it can be very scary for you to delineate. It can be very scary for you to identify that you're even here. Right?
Why not everybody be black?
Like a target on your back.
I want everybody to be black. Just for one sentence. I want 100% of the country to say we're black. Whether you white, yellow, red, green, whatever you are, we're going to check black and just disrupt the whole system because they got people scared to vote.
Yeah.
Right. You'll still be black. You'll be able to delineate, which would actually give more resources and show. I think that right now it's showing that we're like 13 point something of the population, and that's wrong. Like, I mean, I think that's wrong. I think there's much more of us here, and I think that I hopefully we'll see that in the future, the actual true numbers of how many black people are here in the United States. But yeah, I mean, I was just really just pointing to Greg's point. Like, it can be scary to do the census and, risk kind of putting yourself out there because we know you already have a target on your back. So just pointing to that.
No, you're right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to shift the story a little bit about erasure to a story about someone refusing to let the truth stay buried. My throat here. While official investigators worked with Nolan Wells' case, a sound engineer named Jeanetta Brantley took it upon herself. No big agency, no AI shortcuts, just her own time, her own money, her own skills to clean up the CETO distress call. What she pulled out of the background noise was a whole community talking about it. Has the whole community talk about it. So let's get into it.
Before I play this, I want to quickly explain what I did, what you're looking at on the screen, and why I chose to approach this audio the way that I did. As a professional audio engineer with experience in dialogue editing, dialogue cleanup, sound design, and post-production, I decided to work on that CETO call using traditional audio processing techniques rather than relying on any AI voice separation or AI enhancement. My goal was pretty much to preserve as much of the original recording as possible while making the quieter dialogue and background audio easier to hear. So I basically use techniques such as subtractive EQ, compression, gain adjustments, noise reduction, frequency isolation, and other traditional processing methods. So what I did was I separated Vicky, the sea-tow dispatcher, from Warren and the audio originating from the boat so that I can concentrate more closely on what was happening behind and around Warren, pretty much on the boat. And I specifically chose not to rely on AI because aggressive AI enhancements and voice isolation tools can sometimes introduce artifacts and distort the speech or create ambiguity around the sounds that were originally present. And for something this serious, I wanted my processing to remain as conservative as possible. You'll also notice time code and dialogue written on the side of the screen and pop up during each segment. That dialogue represents what I personally hear as an audio engineer while processing and repeatedly reviewing these sections. I'm pretty much providing it as a listening reference, not as a declaration that my interpretation is the only possible interpretation. And that's important. I want you to listen for yourself, use headphones if you have them, listen closely, and decide with your own ears what you believe is being said. You can also return to the original unprocessed recording and compare directly with what you're hearing here. You'll also notice that my time code may not match the regular timestamp on the original uploaded video. And that's because I'm working inside a professional post-production timeline, a digital audio workstation, basically using SMPTE time code, which in film, that's displayed in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Film and TV timelines are completely different from timestamps that you see when you're watching regular videos or when you're watching a movie and you hit pause. So basically the time code on the screen is there to identify the precise location within my working session, not to represent the elapsed timestamp displayed by the original video player. And I hope that makes sense. For this first video, I'm sharing only approximately 37 seconds of the call. I originally intended to continue much further, but once I separated the dispatcher from the boat and started concentrating exclusively on the background dialogue, what I believed I was hearing became extremely difficult for me to process emotionally, and I needed to take a mental break. But I wanted to release this portion because some of the details that stood out most to me occur very early in the call, like right at the top of the call. And so I'm gonna let the audio play. Read my transcription if you want to reference, but don't allow it to determine what you hear. I want you to listen first, listen again, compare it with the original recording, and then judge it with your own ears. I hope this breakdown helps. And my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
Oh my god.
So, what I want to like I've been hearing, I've heard this on a couple of different shows today, and can y'all hear me? Okay,
Yep.
you're good. So I saw this on a couple of different shows today, and one of the things that we have to we heard this, we saw this. We'll play it back again for you, but we heard this, we saw some of her transcripts. I'm glad that, well, I heard it first without the transcript. This is my first time actually seeing the transcript of the words. This is my first time seeing that. But I've been listening to it 3 other times today, and sometimes your mind you'll hear something. Did you really hear it or did you not hear it? So I want to say that first. And then secondly, we still have an investigation going on. My issue with all this investigation is more so I want to hear really a full autopsy report on from the secondary and the one in Mississippi. But with this call here, it's really, really damning information really true, if it's real. Um, that's like a wow. That's like a wake up right there. I want to play it back one more time from where the call started, and then we'll talk about this on the other end.
I hope this breakdown helps. And my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
There was no mention of this kid, only a boat sinking.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Um. Yeah. So that's where we at with this case right now. Bria we had a long talk about it. Talk a little bit, Bria, about what you was thinking when you heard this, and some of the things we talked about earlier today.
Honestly, I don't think that any person that looks like us, I don't think anyone was surprised that there was something else going on and that there was a cover up possibly happening. And so obviously an investigation is still going on. So, we really need to be saying allegedly with all of this. But let's just be honest, that audio, it's very important to mention in the very beginning of that audio, they thought they were on hold. So you could, like in the original audio, you could hear the hold music. So that's why they were speaking so freely. Then when the dispatcher came on and you hear he's talking and then you hear Warren say, "Shut the F up," it got quiet and you could hear it, like you could hear a pin drop at that point. There was still some stuff going on like later in the call, where you can clearly hear someone say, "Check his chest." Um, and then you also will later down the line, on that call, hear the dispatcher call the captain, where the captain confirms that somehow in all of this, um, the man who owns the boat, who is one of the kids' grandfather, already told the captain not to send the tow. So the tow actually never happened. They never actually went to get their sinking boat. Another thing to mention is the dispatcher said, "Do you need me to send the Coast Guard?" Which, when you hear a distress call like this, where the boat is sinking, and you clearly hear children, well, they're adults, but you clearly hear that they're inebriated. You hear that they are they sound like they're in distress, and the boat is literally sinking. You send the Coast Guard, even if they say no, we don't want the Coast Guard. So, there's some things to really notice here. Some things that you might think are just not that big of a deal, but when you really put it in context of it's like what's going on, you know that these details are really important. And I do hope that they look more into this audio and they get it analyzed by a forensic audio specialist. I hope they do that because we really need to know what was being said. They were speaking freely in the
Mhm.
beginning of the call, which is why we were able to clearly hear them say, "Nolan, no."
Yeah. Yeah. If you think about it, if the grandfather intervened like they say he did, he's just as guilty now of what do you call it? Um, obstruction of what do you call it? Not obstruction of justice, tampering with evidence. If he intervened to stop that tow from happening,
Well,
you
that's to
know?
confirm that Nolan was on the boat. So
Yeah.
they did not even allow the police to enter the boat until like 96
Yeah.
hours after the incident. So, in that time, too, remember the GPS coordinates or the GPS basically showing like where the boat went. It
Yeah.
went to Fort Bayou twice. Like
Yeah.
your boat's sinking. How did you do that?
Right.
How did that happen? So we just need to know more about what happened in the time window when they left Horn Island, and
Yeah.
they also declined to have the cadaver dogs come onto the boat.
Right.
So a lot of evidence is missing there, and I just don't know how they can thoroughly investigate without all these important pieces of evidence.
This will
Yeah.
last 2 years. It'll be an
I'm
independent
trying to.
investigator, and it'll be blah blah blah, and then they'll get it off our minds. Another incident will happen, and we'll forget about this. This is textbook. It's frustrating for all of us because it goes back to what we talked about earlier. The
Yeah.
standards for justice for us is going to always
Bless you.
be
Thank you.
It's the way it is. And so, how do we change that? Well, they got black elected officials in that state, in that city, in that county. And that's their job. We trust them to do it because we don't have the reach they have.
Yeah.
But again, everybody's worried about being elected, re-elected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think little is being done, and it's unfortunate. I just don't think we're going to get any answers.
This is what I see so far. It says Jerry Anderson is the grandfather of one of Nolan Wells' friends and played a central role in the investigation by allowing police to search his boat and review GPS data. During a sea tow emergency call made by the group after the boat began sinking July 4th, the tow captain confirmed he had contacted Ackerson, who assured him the situation was handled and that assistance was not needed. This claim contradicted the panicked state of the teenagers on the boat, as Nolan Wells was left behind and later found dead. So this is what, just to put some a complete timeline there of how that happened. That the captain even confirmed that the grandfather canceled the tow.
Yeah, on the phone call,
Um,
he says the grandfather. Yeah, I just talked to him. I literally just
Yeah.
got phone from him. He said you need it.
Yeah, yeah. So,
What?
man. So this is what we're gonna do. When the community has to do the investigating itself, as Brantley did, working as an independent audio engineer. What was it? I lost my point here. Why does it so often take a private citizen with skill and determination to do the work official investigators should have done first? And what does that say about trust in the process?
Y'all think that law enforcement is to protect the people. Law
No.
enforcement
Protect
is
property.
to protect property. And
Property.
when you no longer became property, when they set your butt free, then you got no protection.
Yeah.
You got no protection. I was 6 months old and they killed Emmett Till.
Yeah.
6 months old. My mom was 20 with a child, a black child.
Yeah.
It's amazing that I'm still alive today because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut. They used to travel down south at nighttime just so that I would be asleep, and because I have no problem asking the question, why is this going on or why is that?
Right.
But I didn't know about the Green Book. I didn't even think
Right.
about it that way, and that was happening all around me.
So what do we do about the trust process? Like, what do we do?
Who do you trust? You don't
No,
trust.
that's the point I'm making.
I
Where does
trust my neighbor. I
So-
know who lives next door to me. I know who lives above me. I know who lives in my neighborhood. I know whose kids is whose. I need to get back to community.
Well, that's what they had. These were his friends. These were his best friends.
No.
Community.
No. I as an Uber driver from 2016 to 2024, right? Young black kids would get in my Uber and they would tell me that there was no more discrimination. I've never been discriminated against. I say, you gotta be joking, right? You don't know what's going on.
They're looking at it. They're not looking at it from a systemic position. They're looking at it from an
everybody
front.
thinks that, and this is what happens with kids. Every kid thinks that what happens in their home is normal, and it happens in every home, and that's not true.
Right.
Normalization, and that's where we at. We normal, and it's become normalized. So I guess that's the answer, right? Not answer, but that's the what's the overarching problem. And some things become so normalized, we desensitize about what's legal, what's fair. They're so used to seeing that, and that's a problem. Um, I have a mentor of mine. I asked him, what, just like you said, what can we do to solve this problem? He says a meteor size of Earth. That's what will solve the problem.
Destroy it.
Because, right, because
Watch Strange New Worlds.
right when people are making billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars to do something, why are they gonna change?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And so again, the only hope, if we have any at all, sometimes I hate that word, is that the legislators grow a set and start fighting and saying, look, we're not going to leave office until we get X done, these lists of things done, at least one at a time.
Right.
And so that's what's going to take a period of legislation over a period of time. Because us on this level, we got a voice, but we have no power.
Right.
Did the black community trust the Black Panthers?
Not in Cleveland.
Not in Cleveland.
What happened, and I listened to people.
Well, let me, before you get explanation, reason why I asked that, we were talking about trust the process. And the Black Panthers was established because we didn't trust the process. So, okay, go ahead.
So with the infiltration of COINTELPRO, by the time the Black Panthers got from the coast to the Midwest, they were infiltrated, and parents were lied to about what was going on with their kids, especially in Cleveland.
Gotcha.
And so once the neighborhood, once the parents found out you're trying to indoctrinate my children to do what? Carry a gun? It's like, oh no. So we go in protection mode, right? Because we're trying to change the landscape of politics, right? Carl Stokes, Louis Stokes, whole bunch of things was happening in Cleveland in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Victory Barbershop down there on 55th Street. But when you lie to parents and you lie, they'll never trust you again.
No, that makes sense. No, that makes sense. I mean, it's a tough question. You know, what does that say about trust in the process? That's something that we all need to really dig into, because I'm just looking at a lot of conversations about these flock cameras, and people are saying, you know, how they're being surveillance. And my comment was like, when did we ever stop being surveillance? But see, it's about now who is being surveillance is the difference.
Yeah,
So
being surveilled.
So when you say who trusts the process, a certain group of people will say, well, we've always trusted the process. But then you look at another group of people and say, well, I've never trusted the process. And it goes from generation to generation because, like you said, that through legislation, through lying from the government themselves, we don't trust the process. But we even look at outlets. I'm going to move it on to, because we're going to be running out of time soon. But I'm looking at outlets like TMZ acknowledge that while the enhanced audio seems to reveal like phrases like he's dead, is he dead, check his chest, none of these interpretations are confirmed. And the muffled recording levels leave room for disagreement. That's what you're going to be prepared for the pushback after you heard this. So how do we honor Brantley's word and the family's demand for answers while still being disciplined about what's confirmed fact versus what we're hearing because we're primed to hear it?
Well,
I know you guys. Go ahead, Bree.
I know a lot of people have already sent her video to the Crump, and his team.
Yeah.
And I know that also her video has been sent to Nancy Grace.
Yeah, I saw her interview. Did you see her podcast?
I did, and I
Our
feel
podcast was deep.
I do feel like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like with Nancy Grace on the case, somebody going to jail. But that's just me. She's nosy. I like her. But
Agree. She's on it.
she be. Sorry, y'all. I'm not trying to have notifications here. I don't know what's going on. Sorry. but yeah. So I honestly do think that the way to honor her work is to just get the word out there. Um, get the
Yeah,
word out there about her video. Send out the full
yeah,
video to keep. I would say keep flooding Crump's team. Keep flooding all of the news outlets that you know and trust.
yeah.
Um, and hope that they actually do take it seriously, and then go look at the audio and then analyze it again.
Right.
Because I do feel like there are more powerful tools that
Yeah.
can be used to clear up that audio,
Got you.
so that we can confirm, and so it's not just our confirmation bias winning over
Yeah.
in situations. Because I know that I heard Nolan, but do I know that I heard everything else as like without reading it?
Hmm.
There were some things that you really could make out for sure, but there were also
Right.
some things that you really need in there for this to
Yeah.
be a real thing. So
Right.
I don't know. I do like to see the work being done. I hate that we have to do it when the authorities aren't doing their job.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy that the DA got up there and made that video and asked us to stop to stop pressing them with questions and stuff and just wait for the investigation. It's like, I don't
Because
know
he's
why
not
you think
us.
that was something to ask the
Yeah.
public, because
Right.
you guys are the ones who. The thing is, let's say that in the very beginning, the authorities came out and said, this is an ongoing investigation. We're not going to make any definitive statements. Instead, they came out and repeated what the boys told them. They said there's no foul play. Nolan decided to stay there. Y'all don't know this. How are you guys going to make statements and then get mad at the public for making statements and
Right.
asking you to take accountability and do the investigation? So it's
Right.
like you actually are the one who knocked down the first domino.
Right.
So you can't be mad at the public for asking for answers, not just asking, but demanding that you do your job and get some answers. Um, that's all. The DA made that video, and I honestly just wanted to reshoot the thing. But it's just like, how can you ask the public to not press you?
Right.
You're the reason we're pressing you.
Right.
So,
Got you. So,
uh,
EB. So, EB, tell me. I mean, just from your perspective, how do we honor her work? I mean, she put this work together. We hear things that we really didn't hear before. How
We
do
got
we
we
how
got
do
a
we
great we got a
honor
great
her?
tool thanks to MySpace and Facebook, and it's called Share.
Just keep sharing it, huh?
All you got to do is keep sharing. Look, algorithms are greedy, right? They
Hmm.
created algorithms to make money,
Yeah.
and so if you share it enough, they are so greedy they have to keep showing it,
Have to keep
because to
showing it.
stop it means they can't make any money. So you just
Right.
keep
Right.
sharing it. Now we'll say this: there is a highly likelihood that it's going to be inadmissible in court.
Oh
mhm,
yeah.
mhm,
Yeah.
But there's enough of it out there that the people that call themselves legitimate is going to grab this audio and do the
Hmm.
same thing and be scared to lie when it matches up to what she did. So
Yeah.
at least give us a reference. So
Well,
you
I
got to
know.
continue to keep sharing
Well, them kids probably. I know they
See,
they wet their pants on that one, didn't they?
it.
Because and
oh,
grandpa
it
got the
was the
pins on right
family.
now, huh?
It was the family that had the family 360 in place.
mhm.
Don't
Yeah.
trust and believe.
Right.
Since my grandson is living with me, I
Yeah.
know where my daughter is.
Yeah.
See, we use technology too, and we
Right.
know how to use it.
Definitely.
And it's a tool. So don't play me. You said you
Yeah.
don't know where he's at. I know where his car is sitting. I know where
Yeah.
his phone is, and they not together, and they never are apart. That in itself means that it's a lie.
Right. Right. No, I hear you. I
What? Oh,
wanna go ahead, Bree.
one more thing I wanted to say before we move on, or whatever we're doing next. I wanted to just, I don't think people know this, but Christina Walmsley, I think that's her name, right? Nolan's mother. She's a
Okay.
um she's a physician. She's a doctor, and um there are people that are targeting her, and like, these are people that are saying they're her patients, and they
Oh, I
are giving
believe it.
her 1-star reviews, and they are using this case to try to like tank her profession,
Yeah.
tank her, and get her out of the get her fired,
What do you think?
basically.
Her
So
life has changed forever. She
yeah,
may not want to be a doctor anymore. You know what
yeah,
I'm
but
saying? It's tough.
But they're
I
doing
think
that.
you guys know
That's a
that
good
that's
point.
happening. I
They
don't think
just
that was something that's known.
Yeah.
yeah,
That,
it's
oh,
stirring.
I
That's a
didn't
good
know that,
point. I
but
didn't know
thanks.
that either.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. But it's tough, and for people to go and target people like that, it's sad. It's sad. And I still got to bring his picture up. It's sad. But I'm going to go into a little lighter note now. We've explored the history of medicine. We've talked about our advanced technology that allow us to reveal some things that we didn't know in a murder case, possibly, allegedly. No, let me take it back. A boating incident. Let me put it there.
with a
No,
fatality.
I can't even say it was a boating incident. An incident that happened that may have had some foul play. So I'll just put it that way, so I'm not caught up in trouble with somebody trying to sue Grit, Grace, and Progress because I made a statement. But we're gonna go into a little lighter note right now.
Can I make one last thing? I'm sorry. Can I just say
Go ahead.
one last
One,
thing?
one, one last thing.
There were some comments made on the video from our last show where we said the most unsafe place for a black person to be is in a space of friends where there are no other black people.
Hmm.
And I just want to say that if this audio is fact, if this audio is actual factual, I really hope that you guys change your not y'all obviously, but
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah,
for those who disagree, I really hope you change your perspective and just do the work. Look up the
yeah,
history of
Mhm.
Mississippi because it's just not
yeah.
a far fetch. It is not a reach at all.
They were
Um,
foul. They were foul comments.
that's all I want to say. It's just like
Read the
ignorance is
book, The
a choice.
Barn.
So wait a minute.
Ignorance is a
Refresh
choice.
my memory. Comments on.
But last
Comments
last
on
week's show,
people.
we were discussing this case, the Nolan Wells case,
Okay.
and Bria had a take where she was talking about being in a company of a black kid being in a company of white friends or white spaces, how dangerous it could be, and people just went off on that clip,
Oh, I don't know
Listen, I
who
was
I
and
raised.
missed that.
and
I was.
so it's on. Yeah, you could go to Grit Grace and Progress Facebook page. It's there, yeah, that's where I saw most of it at. But the thing about it is that you gotta go past. You gotta look past it. You're gonna get hate mail. You're gonna get it. We on a platform.
It's more so for
I've
the
been getting it a long time. I get my hate mail. So I'm like, I got to a point. But the thing about it is that you're gonna have haters. You're gonna have trolls. You got people who just want to get up under your skin and let you crack. And
I
the
live
thing
in
about it is
Cleveland,
that you
man.
can still speak your truth. And what you said was what a lot of people feel. That same person who said it to you can go to 10 random black people that he's just see on the street. Just random 10 people. And I guarantee you, over 70% of those people, which is 7 people, will agree with you.
right. So yeah, I could care less about the hate. I'm all about the education. You guys know
Yeah,
this. I'm
that's
all
what it's
about the
about.
education, and
No,
I
that's
just
what it's about.
want
They got the
our
right one. They got the right one to breathe.
Yeah, you know that. So I'm gonna ask you this question here. I'm gonna ask you this question here. Y'all let me know what y'all think. So I'm gonna start with you, Greg. If you could instantly master one skill you have zero experience in right now, what would it be? No, that's a pause for you right there. Ain't
I,
it?
I wanna master the skill of debate, of
Debate.
getting
Gotcha.
people to agree to disagree, and let's look at all the facts. I
Oh,
can't
that
do
was
that because
good.
my emotions get caught up.
Oh, that's good, Greg. That's a good one. What about you, EB? If you could if you could learn one skill or improve one skill that you have no experience in right now.
Empathy for ignorance.
Excuse me.
Empathy for ignorance. Seriously.
Expand on that for a minute. I want to hear this one.
I'm gonna feel
When
sorry for
someone
those.
says something that is obviously wrong, not debatable, like people saying there's no racism, I see the value in staying on with them long enough to have a conversation. The value in it, but it's worth $2 to me. And so I instantly shut them off. If you ask me the next sentence they said after that, I don't know because I ignored them. but I do see the value in staying on with them long enough.
Right.
But I'm sorry, I'm allergic to that.
I got you, man. I got you. You know what? A dear friend of mine, my man Clarence Merriweather, he he dropped out of our political group that we're part of, right? He was like, Mars, I can't do it no more, man. That blankety blankety blank blank, that blank blank, I can't do it no more. He's a blankety blank blank blank. And I was like, bro, I feel you. That's all I can say. And the thing about it is, you're absolutely right. I have a tolerance, and not that I have a tolerance to hear what they got to say. I've said this before. I allow a person to keep talking so they can expose their ignorance. So they cannot deny it. If you all remember this one comment I wrote down, I said, no, I said, let's read the room. No names needed. And I said, this is what an racist looks like. And I described it clearly. And I know everybody know who that person looks like, so and I don't want to call his name out because I do respect people's privacy, and I don't want to throw him out there like that. But yeah, my oh, you know who it is because you commented too. So my tolerance is not for that person. My tolerance is to allow a person to say enough stupid stuff that everyone in the room knows that this guy is wrong or this woman is wrong. Oh, play that! See that play there? See that little word play, Bria? I had to get you. I had to pick with you. No offense. No offense. She didn't even get it.
Missed it. Let it go. Let it go.
She
Move
didn't
past
even get it. She didn't even get it. She didn't even get it.
I didn't hear it.
I said guy, then I said woman. So the guy would be the lesser, right?
No,
Let
a
her
guy is a
speak her
human
truth.
man.
I'm
Let her
just,
speak her truth.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing with you.
Look, hey, you know me.
I'm just
before I
Bree
leave.
can go there.
I know.
If you
but
start that
I
button,
was
you better
just,
pack a lunch.
Oh,
You better pack
I gotta
a
go.
lunch,
I gotta
bro.
pack. I gotta go make it first. But no, but real though. Yeah, there was a lot of ignorant conversations, a lot of ignorant comments toward Bria last week, and it was just pure hatred. You can see it. She dropped some gems there, and they couldn't handle the fact that this is what she said, and not only that, this is how people feel. Not feel because of a thought or an opinion. They feel it because they've experienced it. They've seen it in their lives. They've seen people missing. They've seen people show up missing, and then wonder why this murder happened, and there's no proper investigation, or they make up an excuse. So, yeah, that just wasn't right. But I'm going to move on to a little bit more light. I'm just going to get lighter and lighter with it. I got a couple more questions for you right quick, and then we're going to wrap it up. Did I get Bria on that one?
No,
The skill?
no.
Hey,
I'm waiting.
okay. What is the skill, Bria, that you like to learn, right? That you would like to have an expertise in that you don't currently have?
Okay, so I have the Mike Kim LSAT trainer here.
A
So
who?
it's called so it's an LSAT trainer book. So the LSAT is
A who?
An LSAT.
the LSAT is a test you take to get into law school.
Oh, I couldn't hear it. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So
Okay.
the LSAT is something that it's just LSAT,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
you take it to
I'm
get
familiar with
into
it.
law school. And I have this it's called Mike Kim's LSAT trainer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different logic games. So I really want to learn how to think like an attorney. I want to learn how to um, basically use logic to come to, I guess, conclusions or to come to the questions that I want to ask.
Okay.
I feel like that would make me a better debater. That would make me, quicker on my feet in these conversations. I have no experience in that at all. But yeah, I just started the book, so
Okay.
I want to see where
Oh,
it goes.
that's cool. That's cool. I don't know. I just, I guess for me, I wish that I had more skills in something like golf. I probably golfed a couple times, but I want to I want to get into golfing, but it's like almost like I feel like I'll be intimidated by the people that are good golfers out there. And my reason for wanting to be a good golfer is because of the relationships that you find on a golf course. That would be one of the reasons. I mean, there's a lot of golf, and I'm here in Dallas, man. There's a lot of golf courses here. It's a lot of important meetings happen on that golf course, and it's just something that I've been thinking about over the last few years. My stepson Sheldon, he's a golfer, and I have yet to go out golfing with him, and so he hasn't golfed, I don't think, since he's been here. But we need to get out there. But I definitely would like to at least be able to do a little something out there and get into some of these conversations on the golf course. Greg was shaking his head.
I should be out there with a golf
Never
club.
been fun for me. I'm going to stand and hit the ball further than I can see it. Think I'm going to go find it to hit it away from me again. That's not fun. That's not even competition.
You know, I used to be a golf instructor, right?
Oh, that's right. You sure did. That's right. Bria was a golf instructor.
I can teach you things that I couldn't in Texas.
I'm not going on a golf course with anybody with a big golf club in my hand. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I just told you what I like to put expertise in. I ain't got no expertise in. Okay. Number 2, Greg, cereal or breakfast sandwich, and don't overthink it.
Breakfast sandwich.
Bria.
Breakfast sandwich.
Cereal.
Oh, I got you, Bria. What about you?
Cereal.
Cereal. What about you, EB?
Cereal.
Cereal. For me, a breakfast sandwich. No cheese, please.
Too much work.
Of course.
The last one was, what's the last song that got stuck in your head for absolutely no reason at all? Go ahead, Bria.
Oh my gosh, what's her name? Arya Starr, Bloody Samaritan. I think it's called Bloody Samaritan.
I don't even know that one.
She's an African singer, and the song is so fire.
Right.
You've heard it. You probably heard it on a million things and just didn't know what it was called. No,
okay.
I'm sorry. I take that back. K-pop Demon Hunters, the soundtrack.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
I listen to music all the time. I have no idea. Oh, God. Don't pass me up because I listen to music all the time.
Hearing my grandson singing, "Oh, the blood that flows from Calvary," the top of his lungs.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Come on, EB. I know you got one.
The stupid soundtrack from this insurance company with this bird.
Affleck?
No, the other one. But not the insurance company, the car insurance company, the life insurance company.
Liberty.
Yes.
Liberty.
My God, dude. and Doug. What the heck? I'm like, oh no, I got no business.
That's a good one. I don't know. I've been on that James Brown. I Feel Good. It just keep popping in my head, and it's like one of the songs I do at work for just like background music, and it's like on our playlist. And it's just like, ow! That's all I in my mind. I'm like, I'm at the doctor's office today, and it was like clicking in my brain a little bit. I'm like, dang, I do not feel good.
I gotta go.
Okay, I'll holler at you, Greg. Take care now.
All right.
So as we follow up, but those are my 3 questions. I'm going to start doing that. Just give a little light feeling to the end of our conversations, because they get pretty serious. So closing, family, it's time for our, tonight on Grit, Grace, and Progress. We went from 1910 to 2026 and landed in the same place. When the people in charge of telling our stories get it wrong or won't dig deep enough, it falls on us, our doctors, our engineers, our organizations. To do the work ourselves. That's the grit. Extending grace to each other while we sort facts out from feelings on something as painful as the Nolan Wells case. That's grace. And building the pipeline, the schools, the trust that our great grandchildren won't have to fight for. That's the progress. So thank you for spending your Monday night with us. Until next week, catch us again on Grit, Grace, and Progress. And you know what I did? I'm not even going to worry about the closing song today because I done already removed it from the playlist. Catch y'all next week.